because when he called the station, the video from the car automatically went back 28 seconds. Never once did my son have his hands on a gun. Now that we have good lawyers, Kimberly Motley and Deja Vinci, that has been taking the time to investigate the case, they can't do their jobs completely because the chief of Wauwatosa, Chief Weber, only gave us a bill for $5,400 and won't release the records. They are saying that it will at least take 4 months. No. In the meanwhile, the Fire and Police Commission gave my attorney 4 days to make a case for my son, which is due tomorrow. They are all working together to protect the Blue, even a killer on their payroll. What are they hiding or covering up? We are asking for Chief Weber to be fired and Joseph Mensah to be convicted. This is why we have people out here protesting every day, fighting for our rights. There's 3 families grieving for their son. Give us the decency to at least give us the records we are requesting. Stop trumping up the charges for these records. We are families that are struggling to raise money. We don't have a GoFundMe page with close to $80,000 like Joseph Mensah. These donations to him are from people and police stations in the community. I miss my son so much.
It's okay, Queen.
I miss his smile. I miss his sense of humor. He had a daughter. Do you think that he would risk everything to kill somebody and leave his daughter and family behind? We need a change.
How you doing?
Good to see you, sir. You got headbutted by fucking horses.
You did? I'm in front, so before you guys march, let me know. You might get worse than that later.
Yeah, hey, that's fine with me. Look, man, there's all the anti-abortion people out here. Sorry, is your mic on? Sorry. There's anti-abortion people out here, and one of them goes for his fucking pistol. They shove him out in the road to get him away from everybody, and then the cops protect him and fucking start spraying all the black people on us. You know? I called it.
Glad to meet you. How's the batch?
Good.
Yeah, you missed a lot of that dude from Oshkosh. I watched your stream the other day. Great job, by the way. Those people are nuts. The guy, the larger dude with the microphone that was dropping N-bombs, he was over there with his
really?
Santa friend.
Sure, he'll be over there later. Yeah.
They bailed as soon as the cops showed up, which is
Shocking.
hilarious.
Well, they were all coming over here, and they had some cops over here on horses, about 3, 4, maybe 5 of them. And there was one dude with like a vest on, pepper spray or something, or tear gas. He had some guns. He started getting a little rowdy, and so then cops came in. But I wasn't standing right there when it all started to go down. But from what I hear, the police maybe were not pushing on the right people, is all I'm going to say. So, but yeah, you missed it all, man. I got their license plate number, though.
I'm pretty sure later there's going to be plenty.
I'm sure it don't stop with those fucking people.
I'll see you around, Jordan.
How he don't get blasted on the daily. Oh, wow. Wow. Robin it is.
Older sister of his father, Dean Tubby Jr. I am here to tell Jonathan's story. Jonathan was 26 years old and was a member of the United Nations in Oneida, Wisconsin. Jonathan was shot 5 times in the back on October 19, 2018 in the Sally Port of the Brown County Jail in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He was unarmed and handcuffed. Jonathan was stopped for a routine traffic stop in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Jonathan had a warrant for a non-violent crime and had no history of violent crimes.
My friend or foe today.
Jonathan was placed under arrest
friend.
and transported to the Sally Port of the
friend.
Brown County Jail
Did it work?
by a trainee
Didn't take it yet.
named Officer Colton Warnicki and his trainer, Officer Eric O'Brien. During transport, Jonathan was able to move his handcuffed hands from the back of his body to the front of his body under his shirt.
Cool.
This happened while the two officers were sitting in the front seat of the car. The squad camera filming that was meant to film the back seat was pointed up towards the ceiling. The arrival to the Sally Port occurred at approximately 8:34, at which time the trainee, Officer Colton, moved to the back door of the car to remove Jonathan. Officer O'Brien was at the back of the squad car putting his weapons in the trunk. Warnicki then placed his hand on Jonathan's knee to get him to come out of the vehicle, at which point Jonathan stated, "I'll do it." The trainee then noticed his hands were in the front of him and said he noticed a bulge. He closed the door and informed Officer O'Brien that there was something suspicious, and he noticed a bulge. Officer O'Brien flashed his flashlight while standing at the back of the trunk through the back window and said, "He has a gun." These words came from Officer Eric O'Brien and quickly spread through the Sally Port of the Brown County Jail. Our family has seen the footage of Jonathan sitting in the back of the squad. In the footage, we watched the part where O'Brien flashed his light in through the back window. We saw only Jonathan's back. He was leaning forward in the seat with his chest on his legs. This contradicts what O'Brien initially stated about Jonathan having a gun. The situation unfolded quickly as 12-plus officers came to the Sally Port. The Sally Port quickly filled with SWAT team members, canine officers and their dogs, Green Bay police officers, Brown County officers, and civilians that were riding along in squads. The statement that Jonathan had a gun by Officer Eric O'Brien escalated the situation and put the perception in all officers' minds that they had an armed and barricaded subject, now turning this into an emergent situation. At approximately 9:03, the Bearcat came in and plans of extracting Jonathan from the vehicle began. A less lethal plan of removing Jonathan from the vehicle was ignored because the ranking Brown County officer assumed jurisdiction of the Sally Port. His plan was to shoot out the back window and administer OC spray into the back of the car. The ranking officer had no further plan after this and dismissed the less lethal plan offered by two other officers. The video supplied to the family showed Jonathan moving around in the vehicle to see what was going on. At different times in this video, Jonathan was seen and heard sobbing. The officers are heard saying, "Jonathan, show us your hands." However, officers stated they could not hear him respond, nor did they see his hands. At one point, Jonathan wiped the windows off as requested because the windows of the vehicle were fogged over. Officers said that Jonathan was agitated while in the vehicle, but the video does not show that at all. The rear window was shot out and cleared, at which time Jonathan curled up in the fetal position and clearly stated, "What are you guys doing to me? I'm scared." You could hear them say, "Jonathan, show us your hands." And Jonathan replied, "Okay, I can't. I'm scared. Somebody help me." This was heard by an officer but was not acted upon. Immediately, the OC was administered, which hit Jonathan directly in the face. He quickly exited the vehicle through the back window. He immediately was shot with a beanbag round, which caused him to fall off the back of the car. He got up and ran, and another beanbag round was shot. Keep in mind, this all happened in a matter of seconds. As Jonathan ran, he ran into a transport vehicle, then turned, and at that point the canine had engaged with him. Officer O'Brien, who was outside the Sallyport door, came around the corner and shot 8 times. 5 of those bullets hit Jonathan. He stated he thought that Jonathan was shooting, but what he heard was the last beanbag shots. Officers stated that Jonathan was standing upright or leaning slightly forward when he was shot. However, all bullets entered through the back in a downward pattern. The bullet that entered the back of his head may have been the final shot. He was also shot to the back of the neck and 3 shots in the upper left of his back. Officer O'Brien was asked if Jonathan was standing upright or leaning forward. His response was that all he remembers was that Jonathan was levitating away from him. Officer O'Brien is a recreational gun owner and a firearms instructor, but he could not tell the difference between a beanbag gun and a standard gun. Officer O'Brien openly admitted that he did not receive an honorable discharge from the armed forces, and his discharge was for depression. He also openly admitted to not include one offense for disorderly conduct on his application to the Green Bay Police Department because there was not enough lines on the paper. Officer O'Brien is now referred to as Sergeant O'Brien. He was rewarded instead of being held accountable. Jonathan was pronounced dead at 9:11 p.m. As our family continues to spread Jonathan's story and seek justice, we live this night over and over again, just like many other families that have lost loved ones to this unnecessary violence and brutality. We have heard the conflicting statements by officers. We have seen the lack of policies and procedures, and we have heard the phrase police immunity that many of these officers hide behind. These officers state they are trained in de-escalation, trained in negotiation, and trained in officer override. None of this was followed in our story, as well as many of the stories where the lives of our loved ones are taken. It is much easier to say that a person is resisting, suicidal, or that the officer feared for their life and the safety of their fellow officers. It is much easier for them to say that Jonathan was suicidal and wanted to die at the hands of a police officer. Jonathan was not suicidal. Jonathan was unarmed. Jonathan was still handcuffed, and Jonathan was not violent. Instead, they escalated the situation by using deadly force, which in their minds makes their actions justified. It is all too often that our families hear district attorneys across the country say the actions of an officer were justified. It is all too often that officers are allowed to hide behind a badge that protects them from the injustices and the heinous acts on our loved ones. It is time for us to demand that officers are held accountable, not rewarded. It is time for accountability and time to eliminate police immunity, which allows officers to make their own rules. Yes. Police immunity should never give them the right to make up the story as it goes. This doesn't give them the right to take a life, and it certainly should not allow them to play God and determine whose life should be saved and who should not. Please continue to support and pray for all of our families that grieve because they have lost a young man, a woman, or a child by the hands of a police officer. Our family once again thanks everyone for their continued support and the spreading of Jonathan's story and carrying his name. justice for Jonathan Tubby. As we watch these banners fall through Facebook, we have attempted to reach out to some of our other Native
Explain to
families.
people that there's going to be
in
a yellow vest
Wisconsin.
march after these speeches.
So my daughter Danielle has a statement from Jason Perot's family, and I'd like to introduce the mom, and cousin of Dexter Baxter, to my left here. This is Dexter's mom, Paula Dockstader, and his cousin, Marissa Bladorn.
Hey, it's Jordan.
At this time, they're not ready to talk, and we're going to respect that.
Right now, there's
We are
speeches
very
by
thankful
the
that
families
here today.
of murdered black men and brown men here in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. So we're going to show you those.
So I
And
will
then
let
there's
Danielle read the statement
a
from
march
Jason
of yellow vest
Perot.
protesters going at the DNC convention. So we're going to show you some of this. And as you can see, there's a lot of yellow vest
Our
people,
family's not related to the Perot family at all, but
protesters. There's a mix of yellow vest marchers, Black Lives Matter, and other groups here at Red Arrow Park here in Milwaukee. So we're going to show you some more of these speeches.
So
Press that
Jason
like
Perot
button,
was 14 years old
thumbs up button right under the
when he
live
was
stream to
shot
get
and
this to
killed
more
by
people.
Deputy Brock Ritter. I'm going to butcher this. Marjinovich of the Ashland County Sheriff's Department. Jason was Ojibwe. Jason was a kind-hearted, soft kid who couldn't or wouldn't harm a fly. The story they portrayed in the media about him is not true. They said the same thing they said about George Floyd, that he was high on fentanyl. But the truth is, he wouldn't have been able to walk, or he would have died from a fentanyl overdose with the amount of fentanyl that they said that he had in his body. There was no body cam or dash cam video proving he was even a threat. The call that eventually led to Jason's murder was for reports of gunshots on a road in Wadena for a totally different person. We believe that this was a case of mistaken identity. There was no knife recovered, only a cell phone, proving that the deputy's story about Jason charging him with a cleaver was a lie. Jason was a kind child. The use of lethal force was not needed. The deputy was 6 feet 3 inches tall and was a full-grown adult. Jason was 5 feet tall, 3 inches, and just a boy. He should be here with us. He could have been, he should still be here with us. He could have been calmed down. He was a smart child who had great grades and was well respected by his teachers and his peers. The family of Jason Perot thinks it's time. Joe Biden, the Democrats, and the mayors and council people of cities and towns everywhere quit making excuses for the police officers that murder people. They need to be thrown in prison and held accountable for their crimes. We won't rest until all victims of killer cops have seen justice. So I just wanted to add a little bit to all of our statements, but clearly there's so much wrong with the system that it needs to be dismantled. Yes. Yeah. The origin of the police is embedded with racism since police originated as slave catchers. Yes. Oh, think about that. The police originated in a time where black folks were treated and seen as property, in which indigenous people and black people were dehumanized. Yes. They continue to dehumanize us. We need to demand more of our country. We need our police officers to have a minimum of a 4-year social work degree. Yeah. We need to raise our standards and expectations. If you're going to put guns in the hands of these people, we need to expect more. My opinion on that is if they're willing to spend 4 years in school, the passion to help people is truly there. Yeah. Yes. We need to do away with qualified immunity. This prevents us from getting the accountability that we are seeking. We really need to put pressure on our elected officials to reopen all the cases. All the families and their loved ones deserve that. Most importantly, we need to put pressure on our elected officials from the city, state, and all the way up to the president and hold them accountable. Put pressure on them that things need to change. Have those conversations and get rid of those who are ineffective. Vote them out. Watch to see what they are supporting and take them to task. Our current leadership is ineffective. We need to get these Democrats to do more to end police brutality. We need to get them to help dismantle this system. The system doesn't work. Redirect more funding to social programs to help invest in our people. So I just want to wrap up and thank the organizers for allowing us to be here today and to tell the stories of those who are Indigenous victims of police brutality. Our Indigenous communities get overlooked. Our voices are unheard. We are often invisible and continue to be oppressed. Having said that, I would like to invite everybody to Green Bay on October 13th for the Indigenous Peoples March. Please come and stand in solidarity with your Indigenous neighbors, your brothers and sisters. Please come and hear our injustices. There is an event page on Facebook, and you can get updates on the Justice for Jonathan Tubby Facebook page. Thank you.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go up there, get a crowd shot, and then I'm gonna go around and get the yellow vest.
Will they hear me? Will they hear this if I'm... So right now, they're saying justice for Jonathan Tubby, who was murdered by police. Here's another person speaking. Our cameraman's about to go around and show you the
Thank you to the
Zoom.
Tubby family and all of the other Indigenous families that have shown up to show their solidarity with the other families that have faced similar crimes against them. This is the only way that we're going to win with what we're seeing today. A lot of solidarity, a lot of shared struggle, and a lot of mutual benefit on the things that we're working on. When we all work together, we're going to get the goods. I'm now going to call up the family of Isaiah Tucker, specifically Cassandra Tucker. So everyone, please give a big round of applause for Cassandra Tucker.
Hi, I'm Cassandra Tucker, Isaiah Jamal Tucker's mom. He died July 31st, 2017. 5 days after his birthday. I woke up at 1:38 a.m. to his girlfriend screaming on my phone, "Miss Tucker, they're shooting Isaiah and they're shooting at him and he doesn't even have a weapon. He's in my car, Miss Tucker. Miss Tucker, I don't know. I think he's gonna die, Miss Tucker." And screaming to the officer Artenberg, "He doesn't have a weapon. Why are you shooting at him?" So I get up, get in my car after I tell my son that's laying in the other room, "Come on, they're shooting at your brother. We gotta go. We gotta get up. We gotta go see what's going on." So we arrive at the crime scene and they say he's not here. And all the officers are gone by the time we get there, and he's driven the car away from the house, and down the street he crashed the car. And he ran to a shed, and in the shed he hid. And it was officers that ran to the shed. Later I saw on the video cams that they ran to the shed, guns pointed, telling him to come out. The officer that shot him said, "Isaiah, if you don't get out the car, I'm gonna shoot you." "I mean it, Isaiah, I'm gonna shoot you." And he began to shoot at the car. But unbeknownst to him, Isaiah's 4-year-old son was on that side of the building, and he drove away from the house because he knew his son was laying in the bed sleeping. And when I got there, everything was gone, but yet and still, I went down to the hospital. I said, is Isaiah here? They were like, who? I said, his girlfriend told me he had been shot and he's here. And he wasn't there at that hospital, so I went over to Mercy Medical. And I was like, is my son here? They told me that he has been shot. Is he here? It took them 5.5 hours to come talk to me and tell me maybe it's your son. Maybe it's not your son. And then after the 6th hour, the officer that was the commanding officer came out and said, yeah, it's your son. I was like, maybe it's not my son. Maybe it's not, because they weren't sure, and they know who Isaiah is because he was the star basketball player. He was the star track player when he was in high school. He did all these things in the newspaper in Oshkosh, and they were like, well, maybe it isn't. And then the officer said, yes, it's your son. I said, well, I have to see him because he just had tattoos, and I knew his tattoos. I went into the hospital room. They wouldn't let me get close to him after 6 hours. His chest was open, and I could still see it. I crumbled to the floor and couldn't breathe. Because that was my son laying there. That was my baby that I had, that I carried, that I nurtured, laying there. So the police department, they proceeded to tell me after I came to that this is what they were going to do. They kept his body for 2 weeks. And then they said, no, we got to keep it for a little bit more because it's a crime scene in and of itself. So they transported his body out of Oshkosh to Madison. I had to pay to get his body back to Oshkosh. I had to pay out of pocket for the funeral. And when they had the trial, the officer, they didn't even notify my family, even after we had been in negotiations with the police department of Oshkosh, talked to the chief, talked to everyone, and no one notified us at all that this trial was going on for Mr. Oxenberg. And then they told me someone represented my family, and nobody in my family knew. And they didn't even know who the representative was because she wasn't related to us. So after all of this, they tell me, Miss Tucker, we're going to give you this videotape of your son. This is what we're going to do for you. And they gave me his autopsy, and they gave me the video cam of his last breath, where he died in the ambulance and how they treated him before he died. They got him out the shed. They stripped him buck naked. They turned him over 5 to 10 times and said, we don't see no exit wound. We don't see no wound. My son said, am I going to die? I'm going to die. I watched that myself. I saw my son's last breath. I know that there has to be justice some way, somehow. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, yellow. It doesn't matter. These are our children, our brothers, our sisters, some mothers. We can't replace them. Everybody is needed. And our children may make mistakes, but they're still ours. And we love them. And it doesn't mean that they can't get better. It just means that we as a society have to push for greatness.
Man, that's a lot to take in. So since the families have come out here and you know, done the labor of explaining their stories to us, you know, telling us the trauma that they've been through, you know, this trauma that's been shared for generations, specifically amongst black people in America and also amongst indigenous and brown populations. So we need to take from their work, we needed to inform our work, and we need to get out in the streets and demand justice. Yeah, I know. So I know some of y'all are getting kind of antsy. I've had a lot of people walk up like, are we going to march? Are we going to march? I'm going to bring up one more speaker, and then we're going to get out on the streets. And I'm really honored to bring this person up here to speak. This person has been a longtime activist, a political prisoner, and is a co-founder of the National Alliance. And his name is Frank Chapman. So please, everyone, give a really, really, really big round of applause for Frank Chapman. Yes.
I'm very happy to be here, and more than that, honored. It's been very moving sitting out there listening to these families. I've been listening to these stories for over 50 years. That's about how long I've been in the movement. And the stories haven't changed that much. People being murdered by the cops, people being disrespected by the police, people being brutalized by the police, people complaining about the police being racist, people complaining about them being Ku Klux Klan. It's been the same story, believe me, for 50 years. I'm only 77, so this shit has been going on way longer than that. This country was founded on genocide and slavery. Let's be clear. You can get awful damn confused if you don't know the kind of quagmire that you're in. And the quagmire that you're in is this. This is not a broken situation. The system ain't broke. The system was designed to do exactly what the hell it's doing. And that's why we need community control of the police. Community control of the police. That's why we need it. We need it because we're dealing with fascist cops who are going to kill us at random and at will. And the only way that can be stopped is that we stop it. That's why I say all power to the people. All power to the people. Because it's not till we get that power that we're going to stop it. And power is not going to be given to you. And you're not going to wake up one day out of a bad dream and find that you're empowered. You got to fight for it. See, the first thing you do right is when you start to fight. That's the first thing. And you got to keep your eye on the prize. We are fighting for something. We're fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. And we're never going to get to that if we don't get rid of these racist, fascist cops who are killing us like it's a hunting season going on or something. It's got to be stopped. The Democratic Party is not going to stop it.
That's right.
The Republican Party is not going to stop it.
Right.
You got to stop it. We got to stop it.
Power to the people.
All power to the people. Kamala Harris said something the other day. I agreed with her as far as it went. She said, we're in a pandemic. You know, over 170,000 people died already. A large number of them being black and brown people. So they're trying to find a vaccine for the virus. And she said there is no vaccine for racism. Mm-hmm. But racism is not exactly a virus. Racism has been going on a long time. Since 1619 at least, probably longer than that, when they brought the first slaves here. So there is a vaccine for racism. And that's the power of the people. That's the power of the people. Because the power of the people is greater and more significant and more earth-shaking and more changing than the people in power. So that's what we got to be about. That's what we got to be about. Yeah, vote against Trump. Fuck Trump. Down with Trump. You know? I ain't got no problem with that. But I don't push politicians, and I don't think we should. Let's push the issue. And what is the issue here? How many people in front of the Democratic Party convention have been victimized by police? Huh? What family? We've heard all these families speak out here today. Have any of these families been invited to the convention floor? No. Have any of these families been invited to get on the platform and speak? No. Didn't Joe Biden say he didn't want to defund? Yes, he did. But he praised John Lewis, didn't he? Yes, he did. They all did. All the hypocrites did. Praise John Lewis. Well, John Lewis went and stood on the Black Lives Matter written on the streets of Chicago before he died to say to his fellow congressmen, to the people and to the world that he stood with Black Lives Matter. So what the hell is wrong with Joe Biden? You need to get on the right side of the barricade. Well, at least acknowledge, at least acknowledge, because I know you ain't gonna get on our side of the barricade, but at least acknowledge. You know, we're not damn fools. Yeah, we're gonna do what we gotta do to defeat Trump. Because he's a fascist pig. But we ain't going down no blind alley with no politician talking about elect me and I'll set you free. We ain't doing that one either. We got to put some demands on these people. And we demand that they support our call for community control of the police. All power to the people. All power to the people.
All right, y'all, let's give another round of applause for Frank Chapman. He came up here from Chicago. He's been fighting the fight forever now. He's been fighting for CPAC. We are honored to have him here. All right, CPAC is Civilian Police Accountability Council, and it's where we the people are going to have the power to be able to take on fire and basically control the budget of the police. No mayoral appointment, no bullshit like that. We the people get to decide who represent us. And the Alliance has been fighting for this all over the nation. In Dallas, in Chicago, in LA, in Jacksonville, in Tampa. And we're gonna get it here in Milwaukee. So, whose streets are these? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! Whose streets? Our streets! Alright, y'all, so we're gonna ask the families to get behind the banner that we have out here, the We Can't Breathe banner that the coalition made. So any of the families that want to partake in the march, it'd be great if you could stand behind this banner. And then once we get everyone out onto the behind the banner, out to the street that way, everyone get behind the banner so that we're able to see the families up front and let them inform our work.
How's it going, man?
I joined you guys a few days ago.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah. Welcome to
Thank you. So right now you have families of black men that have been murdered that are going to be standing behind that We Can't Breathe sign. And I believe the Black Lives Matter protesters, along with Yellow Vest protesters, are going to be marching several blocks away to the DNC convention building, which is right here in downtown Milwaukee. So you kind of have a mix of Black Lives Matter, Yellow Vesters, other organizations that are going to be marching to the DNC convention. Hold on.
We're gonna take it to the streets, defend the police. We're gonna take it to the streets, defend the police.
So let's see here. So here is some yellow vesters. I believe they are going to be marching along with the Black Lives Matter protesters. We already see a whole lot more people tonight than we saw last night. There's some of the yellow vesters we've been seeing over the nights. So I think they're all going to be marching together towards the DNC building. Hey, last night of the DNC convention here in Milwaukee, you got Biden speaking, which it's kind of the perfect perfect contrast when you have Joe Biden speaking with this police brutality and murder that has been unleashed over the last few decades, in part because of the mass incarceration, the occupation and the weaponization of the police departments into occupying forces here in the United States. So we'll be seeing, I think, all of these people marching together. I think we'll see what happens. But press that like button. It's right under the live stream. It's the thumbs up button. The more people that press the like button, the more people will see this live stream. Subscribe if you're new to Status Quo. Super chats, we appreciate. As far as I know, we're the only independent outlet here in Milwaukee covering these important events. So definitely press the subscribe button, and let's get closer. I'm pretty sure. Are you guys marching with them or?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so let's go. So. So it looks like a couple hundred people here in Red Owl Park. The march is beginning, so we're going to be following these folks. Unlike a Trump rally, I see most people wearing masks. That's a positive thing. You got tonight multiple speakers that are not the best contrast to Black Lives Matter. Pete Buttigieg will be speaking tonight. Michael Bloomberg will be speaking tonight. And of course, Joe Biden. So not exactly three people you would want to draw a contrast with the Black Lives Matter movement. Definitely not Michael Bloomberg. Definitely not Pete. That's for sure. So we got a nice crowd here. Younger people, older folks, black, white, brown. Very, very good. So we'll talk to some folks as we walk. The last few nights have not been as many people, so seems like a bunch of groups have hit the streets here tonight in particular. So we got end the raids, close the camps. So that's talking about the detention centers, full rights for all immigrants. You haven't really heard a lot at the DNC convention this week about that. Trying to find Jen so we don't lose her. Oh, there she is. I was looking for you. Yeah. So if you see this shot, there's a really good amount of people here. You got some of the yellow vesters that have been here the last few nights. Tax the rich. Always. I am.
Fuck yeah, dude.
What's your name?
Joran.
Hey, nice to meet you. Tell me, tax the rich? I don't hear a lot about that at the convention this week.
No. I believe that both parties are pretty much owned by their corporate commanders, their corporate masters. And no matter what the fuck any of us are saying, they're not going to listen to as long as their pockets are lined.
I would say it's not the best contrast, huh? Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Michael Bloomberg speaking tonight with Black Lives Matter protests. I don't think they're the right messengers.
No, and I don't think that Republicans have anything to fucking add to the conversation either, but they keep booking them too.
What's your name again?
Joran.
Thank you, Joran. So that's one person. We got, and the camps here. Very important. Tell me about your sign.
Well, we like to say that we encompass a lot of different points. We believe in ending ICE as, you know, an organization. Oh, careful there. We believe in all of the families should get justice. We believe in defunding the police and working towards abolition. But until then, community protection and accountability, or community protection and control, is a great idea until then, and we're just continually working forward. We just want progress.
And are you hearing enough this week at the Democratic Convention on for the Democratic Party on these measures?
I ain't hearing shit about any of it. And we need to be hearing more. The Democrats are just Republican light.
I agree. But they do show pictures of a lot of diverse people, don't they now?
They show lots of pretty pictures.
What's your name?
Hayden.
Thank you, Hayden.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So, like I said, you got a mix of everybody out here. Different groups, different missions. And obviously the yellow vest that we've been covering the last few nights. Make sure you press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. If you can, sign up as a member. We are 28 members away. 28 members away. So here's a sign. Jonathan Tubby, I think his mother spoke. Can I ask you about Jonathan?
Oh, I'm not speaking.
So I do see a sign. There are signs. No justice, no peace. By the way, these sidewalks are tight, so if we fall over, don't worry. Here we have peaceful, purposeful. We march, we vote. Black Lives Matter. So it's a nice sign there with John Lewis's face, who just passed away recently. So. So now they're chanting the names of black and brown men that have been killed. Can I ask you about your sign, ma'am?
Oh, the vote, John Lewis? Just a civil rights marcher, always been. The whole family, we come up through it.
Are you hearing enough this week from the DNC convention on police brutality, on reforming police departments?
Yep.
Yes? Okay. She said yes. So now they're saying Joel Acevedo, who was murdered by Wisconsin police. I think, and there you have a sign for. And a lot of these names you've never heard because the national media didn't really cover it. And you see that sign says Coalition to March on the DNC. So they are marching towards the DNC building. How we doing, Jen? Almost 700 viewers. Holy cow. Share this live stream. Share it on your Twitter, your Facebook, your whatever. I know there's a lot of other people live, but I would dare to say we're a little different out here in the field. Press the like button. We appreciate super chats. We'd like to get to 1,800 members. We're 28 members away. So sign up if you can. Support on the ground in the field reporting. statuscoup.com/join. And there you have Joel Acevedo, a mural. He was murdered here in Milwaukee by police. You have a big sign over there, say their names. Obviously, say her name for Breonna Taylor. We went to Louisville a few weeks ago to cover the demands for justice for Breonna Taylor, which has not come yet. And just so you know, I mean, obviously they're marching on the DNC. Joe Biden's response to the Black Lives Matter movement, the protests, has been to offer more money, to police under the category of community policing, which really has become a new buzz phrase that politicians like to use, but essentially is just more money for police departments. He does not support defunding and redistributing money from police departments to social services or anything else like that. So over here on your right, we have some yellow vesters holding a Bernie 2020 sign. So these folks were Bernie supporters during the primary. They have the yellow vests on. On a lot of these yellow vests, you have Green New Deal, Medicare for All. They're wearing gas masks because they think cops might be a little rowdy tonight. We have seen a really, really crazy amount of police officers here in Milwaukee, despite there not really being an in-person convention. So some of these yellow vesters are expecting tear gas and those kind of things. And right now we're going over a bridge in highly gentrified Milwaukee. And we're right now a few blocks from the convention building, which, despite there not being a real convention, they have built a massive, massive wall around the convention center, I guess to protect Tom Perez and whatever other party officials there. By the way, just to give you a little context, we're in Milwaukee. One of the reasons, believe it or not, it was not Comey, it was not Putin. One of the reasons Hillary Clinton lost in 2016 was she had less turnout in cities like Milwaukee among black voters. So right here is one example of the depressed turnout for Democrats in 2016, Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit. And as far as I can tell, they haven't done anything else. They haven't done anything since then to fix that. So we'll see if these people come out for someone like Joe Biden, who authored the crime bill. We're just a few blocks away from where the convention is in downtown Milwaukee, highly gentrified, might I add. So right now they're walking through State Street. These names, people nationally have never heard. Antonio Gonzalez, Joel Acevedo, Dante Hamilton. And we got 700 people watching. YouTube is suppressing us. So please, press the share button, share this live stream. We're just a few blocks away from where the convention is. So I believe that the march might evolve into more demands on the Democratic Party, because you have yellow vesters here, march on the DNC group. So they will arrive at the actual building that the Democratic National Convention is being held in right around the time speakers start, I believe. I usually would be a little bit more in the middle of it, but honestly, there's not a ton of room. And obviously with the pandemic, trying to keep a decent distance.
The people have the power. Who has the power? The people have the power. Who has the power? The people have the power. 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 Who has the power? The people have the power. The people have the power. Who has the power? The people have the power.
And you see a lot of signs for community control of police, which they're calling CPOP. CPOP. So you got a massive defund the police sign over here. And you have so right here you have a mother with her kid. You got a young 8-year-old with a sign here. So you got a little kid with her parent there. I'm only 8 and I know this is wrong, so that's cute. Racist cops have got to go. And Milwaukee, like Chicago, like Detroit, like many other cities, has been heavily gentrified. And with that has come black people getting pushed out, brown people getting pushed out, and a lot more police violence over the last decade or two. Wisconsin in general, economy has taken a massive hit over the last 3 decades because of laws like NAFTA that Joe Biden helped push. So this guy right here is one of the leaders of the Yellow Vest group that came here to the DNC. So he's got the defund the police sign. And I believe right now we're about a block or 2 away from the main convention area where we were last night. Last night there was about 20 people. I think tonight there's going to be a whole lot more people. You see the Yellow Vesters kind of getting in the middle of traffic over there. To try and help the marchers come through with no issue. And I think this is kind of the future in a hopefully post-pandemic world or country when you have kind of this convergence of different movements, whether it be Black Lives Matter, Yellow Vests, climate crisis, Medicare for all, but more and more physical bodies coming together, hopefully making economic demands, because I think the main way you're going to see change is if there are actual teeth to economic demands. So they're marching. Keep sharing this live stream if you can. Power to SDS, the people. What's SDS?
It's the Students for Democratic Society.
And what have you thought this week about the Democratic Convention? Do you hear anything from them on police brutality or anything else for that?
They much rather just do platitudes and cliches, appeal to moderates that don't want real change. We have 2 Republican parties in this country, a far-right party and a moderate right party. The left has been alienated. All minority groups have been alienated, especially on this issue. And Kamala Harris is a clear showing that Joe Biden does not understand the plight of the prison industrial complex by choosing a VP that uses prison slave labor. It is not right, and that's why we're out here right now.
And is there anything Joe Biden could say or do that makes you feel like he gets it? Because a lot of what's been going on is because of laws that he helped draft.
No, I don't think there is. There's nothing he can say to me, but he could honestly go ahead and apologize to all the non-violent drug people sitting in prison that have had their lives ruined by the prison machine that he has helped orchestrate, and now expects those people to come out and vote for him. It's ridiculous and it's insulting.
And you know, Hillary Clinton, part of why Hillary Clinton lost last time was depressed turnout in cities like Milwaukee. Has the Democratic Party done anything more to actually encourage people in Milwaukee, Detroit, these cities that last time did not come out at the numbers they needed?
Because they're not giving them any reason to come out. They expect the vote. They think they're entitled to it. They think just because the Republican Party is outright racist that they deserve our vote. They don't. We need a reason to go to the ballot box. People have given up because they have seen no change anywhere.
What's your name?
My name is Victor Garcia.
Thanks, man. So there you have it. That's a sentiment that we have heard throughout this week. Young people, old people saying, I get it. We need to get rid of Trump, but you got to give me a reason to vote for you. I'm not going to just vote for you because you scream the other guy's a fascist. That's what we're hearing a lot of.
Make some noise.
Whose streets are these looking like?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
Whose streets?
Our streets!
All right, y'all, we're only going to have 2 speakers out here in front of the PD. And we're going to call up Talavia Cole and Lauren Cross of Milwaukee Alive. So give them a hand.
Just kind of posing for you.
Cold streets! Our streets! Cold streets! Our streets! Cold streets! Our streets! Cold streets! Our streets! Cold city! Our city! Cold city! Our city! Cold city! Our city! Cold city! Our city! Cold home! Our home! Cold home! Our home! Cold home! Our home! Cold home! All right, make some noise.
All right, y'all, we have a special guest, another person coming up here from Chicago. He's been putting in the work with many others to get CPAC over there in Chicago, so let's give a warm welcome to Kobe.
Hello. Now listen, there was some motherfuckers over there who were yelling some racist shit, some homophobic shit, some misogynistic shit at us, okay? And they had a lot of shit to say about the south side of Chicago. I live on the south side of Chicago, okay? So let me tell you about it. Let me tell you, every single fucking morning I wake up to police sirens. Every single night I can't sleep because there's police harassing people outside. Okay, they've shut down dozens of schools, hundreds of schools in the past 20 years. They shut down hospitals. At the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, they shut down a hospital on the south side of Chicago. Now that racist motherfucker wants to tell us about the south side of Chicago. Okay? The crime, the violence that comes on the south side is the direct results of the status quo that the police are working to uphold. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's the same shit here. Now listen, this uprising started a few months ago, at the end of May, okay, because of people were outraged by the murder of George Floyd, the murder of Breonna Taylor, the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Now, no matter which city you go to, they have a list of names, a long list of names of people from that city that have been murdered. I saw it here on that banner that y'all dropped over here. We have that in Chicago too. We have Laquan McDonald, Pierre Laurie. We have Betty Jones. We have Ronnie Man Johnson. Okay, we have dozens, hundreds of people whose names will never be a hashtag. We have hundreds of people who have been killed by the police, who have been kidnapped, brutalized, tortured by the police into confessing to some shit that they didn't do. Now, when we get together and we make history, because what we are seeing right now, this crowd right here, we are making history, okay? And the people, the ones that are trying to stop us from making history are the police. Over the past 2 months in Chicago, I've been beaten by the police, I've been tear gassed by the police, but I'm still out here in these streets demanding, I'm not asking, I'm demanding community control of the police. Okay, because the one thing they can never do, although they can torture us, they can beat us, they can arrest us, they can harass us, the one thing they can never do is outnumber us. Okay, we are in here in solidarity, we are in here in our numbers, and we are saying that this shit has to change, and that we are going to change it. Okay, because all these cities that we're looking at, all these cities that the public eye is on, they have Democratic mayors. Okay, Lori Lightfoot is a Democratic mayor. And we've had to struggle with Lori Lightfoot. We've had to fight with Lori Lightfoot every step of the way. She's been sending cops to come and brutalize young people, young unarmed black people being brutalized in the middle of the street. Say that ain't right. That ain't right.
That ain't right.
Now listen, y'all. The only people that we can expect change from is ourselves. Okay? These politicians do not move unless we make them move. Okay, so the next protest, I want y'all to bring your friends. I want y'all to tell your friends and your family, your neighbors, your co-workers, people walking by on the street, tell them we need to defund the police. Okay, because all that time, I've had to listen to Chicago. I've had to listen to Lori Lightfoot say that there's no money for COVID-19 preparation. There's no money for housing in the worst economic crisis we've had since the Great Depression. There's no money for any of that. Okay, but they have money somehow to pay the police overtime so that they can beat people's asses in the street.
Fuck that.
So we got to defund the police, and we have to pass a civilian police accountability council so we can hold those pigs accountable for what they've done to us. Okay, so I'm going to say CPAC, and I want y'all to say fight back. CPAC!
Fight back!
CPAC!
Fight back!
CPAC!
Fight back!
When I say fight back, y'all say CPAC! Fight back!
CPAC!
Fight back!
CPAC!
Fight back!
CPAC!
Thank you, I love you so much.
So there's still a huge crowd out here,
Continue to take these streets.
close
We're
to
gonna keep
the
going up
DNC
that way.
convention.
So, like we did last time, we're just going to follow the people with the banner. They're going to start moving right now, and then we're going to follow them. All right?
Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets? Whose streets?
So right now, looks like a few hundred people marching towards the DNC. Right in front of the police station here in Milwaukee. You see the police over there looking on. They don't look pleased, which is always a good sign. Looks like well over a dozen police officers guarding their police department, I guess. We've seen this kind of sign. Here you have, this is Jill. You've seen her the last few nights. And there's the sign she has. There you see, I guess, anonymous looking individuals. They have a mock casket here with Superman in it. And they have an upside down flag, which is obviously a sign of distress for the country, or a military distress signal, excuse me. Here we have some of the yellow vesters that we've been talking to the last few nights, Medicare for All Now, from Sam Ronan. I believe they're marching towards the convention center, but
I think they finally are now.
yeah. Looks like a lot more people tonight, huh?
Oh, no, it's fantastic. Honestly, the turnout for today is greater than we could have anticipated given COVID and all that. And as you can see, there's a lot of diverse groups here, a lot of families that unfortunately lost their loved ones due to law enforcement here in Milwaukee and surrounding areas. So it's fantastic. I'm happy. A lot of the people I've been speaking with are very disaffected with the DNC. They're saying that the party has betrayed them, that they aren't going to represent them, that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, if we need to walk, that they're not going to do the job that is needing to be done, which is police reform, which is incarceration reform. And, you know, not to do the shameless plug, but this is the future of the party. And if the DNC doesn't understand that, and if they're not going to see that, then we have to make it heard. We have to make it seen. So, I mean, that's why I'm running again for the chairmanship, right? I ran in 2017, and I said, if you don't listen to us, and if you don't start doing the work that is going to be inclusive to us, we're going to protest. That's going to be our future. And lo and behold, here we are.
It's interesting to me because, you know, MSNBC and the neoliberals have blamed Comey and Putin and anyone they could blame. But Milwaukee was one of the cities that Hillary Clinton didn't get the turnout she needed. There was a lower turnout, particularly among black people in Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit, and those three cities were the difference. I don't know. I'm seeing similar vibes here among black people. I've interviewed a few people, black, brown, and they're not really sold on voting, period.
They aren't.
So seems like the Democratic Party, as they stroke Michael Bloomberg and Colin Powell and all the Kasich,
Tea Party.
they seem to be talking to the wrong people this week.
They absolutely are. And, you know, it makes my job a lot easier, and it makes all of our jobs a lot easier. If the Democratic Party is the party of the people, why are they not talking to the people? Why aren't they getting people to represent the citizenry, the people that are actually out here doing the work? When we finally get the chance to speak and confront them directly, once they can stop hiding behind their own cameras and desks, it's going to be too easy. Are we the Democratic Party, the party of FDR and JFK, or are we trying to be the Republican Party of the 96 era and beyond? Yeah, so, you know, that's where I'm at with it. Like, we're not even trying to be Democrats. We're not even trying to appeal to what people want. People on both sides of the aisle overwhelmingly want Medicare for all. They overwhelmingly need rent reform. They need UBI during this crisis. They need the student tax debt relief. And instead, like you said, they're appealing to Republicans, the Tea Party. They're asking for billionaire donorship. And the exact opposite. So of course we're disaffected. If the Democratic Party was listening to us, we wouldn't be marching. We would be knocking on doors. But we'd be knocking on doors for Bernie Sanders instead of Joe Biden. And that's the difference. That's the difference between a party of the people, which would be this, which is what I would be fighting for to get to represent, and continuing on fighting for the establishment and billionaires. If they want to see their party crumble, all they need to do is continue on what they're doing. If they want to see their party actually grow and thrive, these are the people. These are the men, women, and non-binaries that they need to appeal to. Because without us, there is no party. Without us, there is no future, because this is the future.
Thank you, Sam Ronan. He ran for DNC chair in 2017, running again this time around, and we'll see.
Thank you so much, Jordan. It's nice to see you again.
So he's part of the Yellow Vest group that's here, mixed with Black Lives Matter. We've seen parents of black and brown men that have been murdered by police here. So super diverse. Like, this is actual diversity rather than what the Democratic Party has been showing all week. You got a beautiful dog with a Black Lives Matter bandana on. So, I believe I've been saying it for a few blocks that I think we're closer, but I do think this is, John, this is where the convention's close to here, right? I think? Yeah. So I think it's about around the block. So you got, looks like a couple hundred maybe protesters out here, which is pretty good for a pandemic. Now they're chanting, "Get the U.S. out of the Middle East." Another thing that the Biden and the Democrats are not talking about this week. Pretty much everything they're saying, everything they're chanting, the Democrats aren't addressing this week. And if you're new to this channel, please press the subscribe button. Share this live stream.
No peace. No justice. U.S. out of the Middle East. No justice. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
Milwaukee against racist and political repression. Justice for Thee Hill. And the charges for those. Can you tell me about your sign?
Sorry?
Can you tell me about your sign?
Yeah, so charges for these three is
Okay. So
justice for Alvin Cole, Jay Anderson, and Antonio Gonzalez. Oh, sorry. And those three include the police officers that murdered Joel Acevedo.
And
we're MARPER, the Milwaukee Alliance Against Racist and Political Repression.
and nothing happened to those police officers that murdered Joel Acevedo, correct?
Sorry?
Nothing has happened to them.
No, they have not been convicted at all, yes.
And when was Joel Acevedo murdered?
I'm sorry. I talked to I don't know much about that case. Yeah, so we're fighting for justice for these three, yes. And charges for any murder cop, killer cop in general.
Thank you. I'll tell you, not easy. Not easy to breathe in these masks, but what are you gonna do?
Power to the people. When I say people,
We got 750 people watching, is that correct? 750. Smash that like button if you haven't. Share this live stream. Sign up as a Status Coup member. Spread the coup. statuscoup.com/join. You could join us for as low as $5 a month. It's the only way we could keep doing this in the field. We are hitting other cities on the way back from Milwaukee on this reporting trip. So please, 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 statuscoup.com/join. We're 20-something away, 20 members away from hitting 1,800. I got to sanitize the mic every 10 minutes. I got coronavirus once. I certainly don't need it again. So we got Stop the Wars on the Poor. We are warriors.
one more time. We ready. We ready. We ready. For change. We ready. Watch your step. We ready. We ready. For change. We ready. We ready. We ready. For change. I can hear y'all. We ready.
So they're saying, we ready for change. And we got some guys rollerblading here. Jail killer cops. It's a lot easier marching in rollerblades.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Nice little glide, but when there's a little slope, you're gonna need somebody to help you out.
Yeah. So we're going down a slope right now. Pretty good crowd for protests during a pandemic, huh?
Yeah. Pretty good.
Have you heard anything this week from the Democratic Party on police brutality or anything like that during the convention?
They have spoke about nothing pertaining to anybody that's that's part of working class. They're just everything that you hear them say is just platitudes and cliches. It's Hillary 2.0. Nothing's happening. They're not doing nothing for us. There's a reason why Trump won last time. he was anti-establishment.
You mean Michael Bloomberg's not exciting enough for you?
Oh, you already know that he's trash. I mean, he was a Republican, what, two years ago? He's Republican. He's Republican. And you're that old, you're not going to change your views. You're not going to change your views.
And what do you buy? Do you buy the argument they're pushing? Yeah, we might not be your preferred choice, but Trump.
That's basically what they did with Hillary. That's how they snuffed out Bernie the first time. I wasn't angry with how Bernie went down in 2016, but how he fell down to corporate power was very disappointing, and it just wasn't right either way. So now we have Joe, and we got to settle for Joe. At least I am, because before I wasn't going to vote for him. But after I seen what happened at Lafayette Square in Washington, D.C., that was the suppression of freedom of speech, the First Amendment. And, I like to talk a lot of boo-boo. It's as simple as that. I appreciate that I'm able to give criticism to all politicians without going to jail, So when I saw that, I was like, dang, I might have to vote for Joe.
I have a feeling there's still going to be protests even with Joe Biden.
There's definitely going to be protests with Joe Biden. Yeah. I wish we saw everything that was happening with Obama, because it didn't start with Trump, of course. I mean, it didn't even start with Obama. It started further in the line. I believe it started Reagan, and then Bill Clinton.
Reaganomics.
Because he was doing the middle of the road, and the further we got with the middle of the road, the more the Overton window shifted to the right.
Crime bill happened under Bill Clinton, yeah.
Yeah. And guess who architected? Joe Biden.
What's your name?
Ulysses.
Thanks, man. Yep. Appreciate it. So, here's the walls for the DNC convention.
Co-chair of the Coalition to March of the DNC. His name is Ryan Hammond, so give him a huge round of applause. Man, he's just going to leave me here like this. I don't have my speech. It's gone.
Take it to the streets, defund the police!
No justice! No peace!
Take it to the streets, defund the police!
No justice! Because he helped run all this, but he's holding me up here. My speech fell out of my pocket, dude.
Let's give a hand for Ryan!
Who's straight? Who's straight? Who's straight? Who's street? Who's city? Who's city? Who's city? Who's city?
I can't do it. You do your speech down there.
Great. Well, I don't have my speech right now.
All right. So hopefully we're going to
march. Planning on this one? Yes. We're going to figure there.
Yep.
Right. All right, y'all. We're going to be broadcasting this afternoon. So we're going to kind of cramp and get comfortable with each other. We're going to be getting to the loss of a first.
So right now they are marching on the actual in-person building where the convention is being held here in Wisconsin. This is where we were last night. share this live stream, get it out to more people. You still see a massive fence that was built, even though there's not an actual convention here. So the power wants to keep itself protected, even when it's not fully here. So this is a big elaborate fence they put together despite a virtual convention without many people really here. So we were here last night with about 20 protesters. Now I'd say they're being joined by a couple more than that. Definitely more than that. And it's just kind of remarkable. You wonder why they have this fortress built around the building when it's really Tom Perez and a few other party people in there, but not a big number of people inside the building. And there's certainly not a security threat. You even see police in front. How we doing, Jen?
Member Rebecca. Welcome, Rebecca.
Welcome, new member Rebecca, joining the media revolution. Woohoo! I think we're at, oh my Lord, $100 super chat. Kathy Lloyd, go get something to eat and drink, guys. I need a ventilator. It's so fucking hot in this mask. Thank you, Kathy, for the amazing super chat. Keep them coming if you can. And keep those memberships coming. That's how we grow for the long haul. Statuscoup.com/join. You could join us for literally 16 cents a day. That's $5 a month. Please, please, please join. That's the only way. Frankly, there is no other independent outlets out here. It's just us. It's usually just us in the trenches. A lot of outlets like to call themselves progressives, but don't actually walk the walk. So here they're marching up right in front of the convention center. So now they're, the yellow vesters are here in front of the march. I believe some of the yellow vesters will be stopping here to splinter off a little bit. So the BLM protests will be marching forward, and I believe many of the yellow vesters will be protesting over here, right in front of the DNC convention. You got some of the Wisconsin delegates for Bernie are also, I think, sticking around here. So I think the yellow vesters are going to be protesting here. You could get them over there. They're lining up over here.
Let me look at
And right here you have about a lot of the same folks from last night and the night before protesting here, right in front of the DNC convention building.
Shut it down! Shut it down!
And this is where they were last night, so they're protesting over here again. And there's still folks marching that way. So looks like the joint protest. Yellow vest folks are sticking around here, so we'll see. Maybe more people will join them over here. But right now, I'd say there is 8:30, so you're going to see the main speeches begin at the convention. I wish I had booze with me to listen to Pete Buttigieg. That would be one hell of a drinking game. I wonder how many platitudes are going to come out of that mouth. But, you know, smaller crowd here, obviously, but same principle as last night. This is the beginning of what, hopefully, in the next few months, and hopefully beyond that, we'll begin a movement in this country across party lines, generations, races, the whole nine. So the beginning of the march was kind of a cross of Black Lives Matter, other groups. So you got defund the police still. And there's still a lot of police there for the amount of people here. Let's take a look at their sign. U.S. out of South America campaign presents March to Milwaukee. Tell me about, are you part of that? What? Tell me about your campaign. Okay.
So this is U.S. out of South America. So we're a group that we're against U.S. military aid to governments in South America, such as Colombia, and these are governments which like do not really respect activists, and people want to like change stuff, like change the way society is set up there, and so basically what we demand is that they end military aid to the government of Colombia, and I'm not sure if they still have the MRTA, but we were against the military aid to the government of Peru. Yeah, and so this doesn't mean that we're against like all U.S. military interventions, we're not against the intervention in Afghanistan because we think there's a good purpose for that intervention. Like they're there for like I think a just reason, but we are against the military aid to Colombia. That's like our number one demand.
You've got a very brutal dictator.
It may be a democracy, but I still don't think we should be giving military aid from like our tax dollars to their government to do things that we don't believe in. Yeah.
What's your name?
Benjamin.
Thanks, Benjamin. Appreciate it. So that was one campaign, and you got different folks here. Enough lip service. The people chose Bernie. Democracy is dead. The DNC stole my vote. So, twice. Tell me, tonight's the Super Bowl. You know, you got Pete talking, then you got Michael Bloomberg. I mean, who wouldn't want to be here? Tell me, I know I've talked to a lot of different people tonight. I hear a lot of people just simply choosing not to vote.
You know what? Can you blame them? When we don't have anyone to vote for that represents the people's interests, they aren't the People's Party, they are the corporate party, and they are two sides of the same coin.
And you don't buy the argument, Trump's worse, got to get rid of Trump, then we'll work on them?
You know what? My vote's been stolen more than one time, and I'm going to use it wisely for someone that earns it. That's how I feel. My name is Stacy. I'm Stacy Paul King.
Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you.
So let's try to catch up. Apparently, the group is splintering back with the original march. Kind of disorganized, but that's okay. Not my first rodeo. So you got the back end of the march here. Keep pressing that like button, share this live stream. And this is a lot. I mean, look at how long this wall is for an empty convention. I've never seen anything like it. It's unbelievable. It's like Game of Thrones. It'd be a giant fortress if nobody was in the castle. I guess surprise attack, I don't know. But some yellow vestas in front of us. You got ACLU, legal services, and so many police and officials around the building. It's kind of crazy since it's mostly virtual, but you know, Power has to protect itself, even if it's not there. It's quite the march, huh? Hey, how you doing, man? So let's try to catch up here. A lot more people over here. Please share this live stream. Keep subscribing. YouTube does everything it can to hide us in a cave, so spread this channel to your friends, family. And here's a lot more people.
Laws in the legislative system. Oh my gosh, I'm getting nervous. But
you got this.
yes, that's what I'm here for. Because enough is enough. Enough is enough.
And this is a lot of names that I bet you most people have never heard of because the national media has never covered them.
Yes, exactly. I mean, when you say, say their names, which one, I think that that's one of the most powerful chants that we can have is because there's just been too many for too long. Ever since this, nation started, it started off of genocide. It started off of kidnapping people and enslaving them, and we've built our wealth from there, and nothing's going to change unless the people decide that it's time for a change. And that's
Have you heard anything this week from the Democratic Party in their convention that makes you feel like they're going to actually do something?
Oops. So I haven't been watching too much because every time I do, it just feels like they're lying. It's hard to believe politicians who actually haven't shown up for the people, who just say that they do, but then they have all these corporate lobbyists in their pockets and funding their campaigns. And when you're having people fund campaigns like that, then it's hard to actually stand up for the people. You're standing up for the people that have put money into your pocket to get you to that position that you're in. And that's what we're here to dismantle. That's why, the establishment, their time is up. And it's time for the people, So.
What's your name?
I'm Kelsey.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Yes. Thank you.
And Kelsey,
So,
where did we meet, Kelsey?
Powerful.
We met at Milwaukee for Bernie. We canvassed out in Iowa, we canvassed out in Minneapolis, and then coronavirus hit, and it kind of all, fell apart from there. But we did a lot of phone banking. We were super excited for Bernie, and the establishment stole it from him. So.
And the last time we went to canvass in Minneapolis was on March 1st.
On March 1st.
Yes.
And Milwaukee blew up after that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I'm thinking Minneapolis. And Milwaukee, last time, less people came out for Hillary Clinton. So I don't feel like Joe Biden's doing much to entice younger people, young black people, young brown people. Are you hearing anything?
Yeah, well, I think also, I agree. I think that they can't listen to us chant with us, take our slogans, but not follow the policies that we're arguing for. I think the second thing is that we need to look at this structurally of what was happening in Ozaukee County with Judge Malloy trying to take 250,000 people off the voter rolls. Most of those people on the north side of Milwaukee. Now, who lives on the north side of Milwaukee? Right? Why does 600,000 people have to vote at one place in Kentucky? Huh? Why are they underfunding the post office? I thought we were a democracy. Shouldn't we have the best running democracy if we're the first ones? We can send a man to the moon. We can't figure out voting. We can send a man to the moon. We can't end racism. We can send a man to the moon. And with most people who've died of the virus died where? America. So America pride stands in front of our progress. Our pride stands in front of our progress. You cannot fix problems if you don't admit there is a problem. The last thing I will say is that they say, make America great again. All right? Tell me a time. Tell me a date. 1955, 1960, 1920. All right? Switch places with me. Go back to 1920 and look like me. And then tell me America's great. Thank you for your time.
That's the truth.
Huh? My name is Sharaka Berry. I work as a super vocera for Voces de la Frontera. And we're looking for more super voceros. We're looking for more, so go to our website, Voces de la Frontera. Look us up. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. So that was another powerful speaker. Let's walk over here. A lot of people stationed out. Cute dog right here. Sorry.
I say, all power to the people! 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 All power to the people!
So they're right in front of the Wisconsin Center right here.
Have the people with the banner get up to the front, and then we're going to hit up the ICE building, because fuck ICE.
So they're in front of, right in front of the DNC convention building. You got the Freedom Road Socialist Organization. That sounds pretty badass. We Can't Breathe. So there's really a really diverse coalition of groups here. And most of them, whatever group they are, I've spoken with, are not impressed at all by the Democratic Party this week at the convention. Not hearing pretty much any of their issues discussed at the Democratic Party convention. You got people fighting to close down ICE, police brutality.
We just want to honor the families, honor those who lost their lives to police brutality. Not just police brutality, once again, COVID-19 is another crisis. Right? So let's have a moment of silence for all those who lost their lives. Stand wherever you are. Say their names. Which one? Say their name. 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 Which one? Give it up for yourselves, y'all. Give it up for yourselves. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Clap it up. Yes, 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 yes. We can't breathe, y'all. We can't breathe. All right, let's start to move, y'all.
So they're right in front of the Wisconsin convention here at the Democratic Party convention. That does have technically an in-person component to it. So they are marching, I believe, towards the ICE building. So see what happens with the crowd here. Which way folks go. Yeah. It's a huge crowd that I'm assuming CNN, MSNBC, and the other platforms that are carrying the Democratic National Convention, my strong assumption is they are not out here covering this. So I'm glad we are giving a microphone back to these people that don't have it elsewhere. So right here is more yellow vesters. I don't know where my cameraman went. That's occasionally a problem. Hold on.
How you going? How's it going?
Good, besides losing my cameraman, but that's okay. Oh, I see him. He's over there.
So here's Jordan. This sign has been all over the country.
Oh, I gotta find him. They're marching over a bridge here, I think towards the ice building. Still a couple hundred people out here. So, a good crowd of I'll tell you, it's really not easy to breathe in these masks. But right now they're in the middle of a big intersection, closing down traffic, it looks like. I believe they're near the park that they began this march at. We command CPAP. We can't breathe. So they are marching down a pretty gentrified part of town. Got a lot of swanky restaurants and bars. Still a few hundred people. So I think they've been marching now for about an hour and a half, maybe more. And you still see the signs, justice for Jonathan, justice for Dontre, and many other names that nobody has heard about nationally. So now they're moving through. So it looks like they're moving left. still have a lot of the yellow vesters with them. So the yellow vesters were here to march on the DNC, which they've been doing the last few nights. And they've joined this BLM protest, which is nice to see. So they're now marching on Red Arrow Park, which here in Milwaukee, I'm forgetting the gentleman's name. I'll have to get that. But here in Milwaukee, Red Arrow Park is named after somebody who was shot and killed by police, I believe a black man. So they are crossing the park that they started this march at. And we still got yellow vesters marching with them in solidarity. Hey there. I think I met you last night.
Depends on where you were.
By the DNC convention. No? Whew. So here's the park. And let me tell you, it's pretty hot out here. Last night was windy, tonight's hot. So you have them marching, it seems like, back into the park, maybe. A lot of people with yellow vests on. Here's, I think, William, who is a delegate from Wisconsin for Bernie.
Our streets! Both sides! Our streets! Both sides! Our streets!
They're saying our streets. Oh. So, I think we're going to follow for a couple more minutes and then try to find the original vesters if we can. So they've been marching now for like 2.5 hours, which is pretty awesome. So I don't know where they're going, but they're certainly persistent. And the crowd size has basically remained the same. So I believe I heard some chatter about going towards the ICE building, but I don't really know where that is in Milwaukee, but still a pretty good crowd of people. Keep pressing the like button, keep sharing. Please, 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 if you're liking this, if you think we need more of this type of reporting, support us. $5 a month, statuscoup.com/join. You could get behind the scenes content as well as a member. And I don't know what time it is, but 8 o'clock Eastern? Huh? So 9 o'clock Eastern, so sounds like Mayor Platitude will be speaking soon. Pete Buttigieg. I advise you not to play a drinking game with how many platitudes he puts out there. And then Biden speaking, I'm told, live, which would really, really be very interesting if he's speaking live. Most times. So there's somebody honking with solidarity in their car. All right, so we're gonna wrap up from this end and try to find our original crew of yellow vesters. I believe they'll be protesting around the same time that Biden speaks, so we're going to try to hook back up with them. They would be right outside of the convention. Also, make sure if we go live again tonight, then you will get notified when we're live. So definitely text us right now. Text COUP to 370-370. That's text COUP to 370-370. Oh, we do have.
I'll put a different one on. I feel bad that I'm not wearing it.
We'll continue. You got some of the original yellow vesters. What do you think, Eric? What do you think of these diverging coalitions? It might be a sign of things to come.
It's a wonderful, beautiful thing, and I'd do this every day if I could, until we get some change. I wish we would have hung out at the DNC a little longer, and pasted these big signs up against the fence for a while. I saw the delegates looking outside. I wanted to get them to get the message loud and clear. But anyway, we found some unity here, that's for sure, and it's really encouraging. Do you find it encouraging, Gordon?
I always find it encouraging when people are on the streets. But, for people watching at home that might have cynicism saying, all you're doing is marching, but they're drinking their champagne in there. People who say nothing you guys are doing is going to work. What do you say to them?
I say they better protect their champagne because, if they keep ignoring the largest problems that America has, it's going to come back and bite them.
Whew. For sure. So these folks continue to march. We're going to go for a couple more minutes, then wrap. I'll tell you, not exactly, I guess white people problems or old people problems. It's fucking hard to breathe in these masks.
Hey, you know what, Jordan? I'll tell you what. If Trump gets elected, we're going to have to yellow vest. If Biden gets elected, we're going to have to yellow vest. And even hypothetically, if Bernie had gotten elected, we'd be having a yellow vest because of the resistance they'll be pushing back on him. So regardless of what happens, we're in the streets now. And we'll stay there.
And that's Eric, one of the organizers with the Yellow Vest movement that came here to the DNC convention in Milwaukee. So they are in front of the Immigration and Detention Center here in Milwaukee, ICE.
Say no more, I gotta go. 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 Say no more, I gotta go.
And of course, Joe Biden is not for ending ICE.
All right, yeah, the person that I'm going to have up next is the speaker. Doesn't even really need an introduction. She's been involved in Milwaukee forever. And I'm just even going to say her first name, and you're already going to know who I'm talking about. So I'm going to welcome Christine from Buses. Everyone give a round of applause.
Let's get a round of applause for all the organizers and you guys out here. All right. I gotta say, I had the same reflection that was made at our previous stop by the young man who was saying it was like disappointing that Biden and Harris didn't come to the DNC, at least them. And here you have Trump ginning up his racist base all over the state. And what gave my heart, what really lifted my heart, was this march and all of you and our young speaker who was part of the DNC conversation on what's needed on immigration. But what this march represented to me is hope. Hope because it's the movement. It's the movement that's going to defeat fascism in the November elections. And it's the movement that is going to hold a new administration accountable for the changes that we need. And the progress that can be made locally, at the state level, at federally, we see it. We should celebrate it because we are at a historic moment in the fight against racism. The Black Lives Matter movement has re-brought us together, has really said it's bigger. It's about questioning institutionalized racism as a whole, all of it. And we have made progress. What we should celebrate tonight, that the Fire and Police Commission did demote Chief Morales, which was a demand of the movement. We should also celebrate the stress workers that just recently, immigrant essential workers, that won justice in terms of a settlement because of the community support that surrounded them, and not because of the strength of the laws. It was what should be, was morality dictated, and the community support behind it. Voices is building a network of 23,000 voters, not just to defeat fascism in November, but to also make sure that we win immigration reform that is long overdue. That in the first 100 days we protect DACA and expand it. And that we also make sure that we get the kind of support that we need for resources for people who are unemployed, that we have protections on the job, and all of that is going to happen from the power of the movement. So thank you guys for everything you're doing. Si se puede. Si se puede. Si se puede.
All right, thanks, y'all. Next up, I'm going to call up Dom with Migrante. So everyone welcome Dom.
So I wrote this in Tagalog, so I'm going to try to translate it right now. Warm and militant greetings to everyone. My name is Dominic. I'm with Migrante USA. And Migrante USA, just a little, talk a little bit about it, is a Filipino workers organization, and we fight and advocate for workers' rights and welfare, no? Thank you. And we are in solidarity with the fight, of the migrants and the refugees here in the U.S. Because the Filipino community is also affected by the repressive immigration policies of Trump. Thanks. We, the immigrants, the refugees, we are the backbone of the economy of the U.S. We are the one who are serving them, cooking for them, taking care of their kids and even their elderly. We are the farming, we are the nurses, the doctors, we are the essential workers and the frontliners. Literally, we gave up blood and sweat to risk coming here for a chance of a better life. Yeah, because the complete condition of our countries where we came from is not enough for our families to live off. The low wages, really expensive groceries, lack of jobs, corruption in the government, and the fascist and dictator leaders of our countries. These are just some of the problems that we are facing, and some of the reasons why we are moving to go out of our countries. And really, let's not be deceived. It doesn't matter if it's the Republican or the Democrat who's sitting, who's the president, no? Because this will not change the repressive policies of immigration. Example, during the Obama era, thousands upon thousands of immigrants were deported. And during Trump's time today, a lot of them also, thousands upon thousands, are still in detention camps. And they even separated the kids to their mothers. But we will not be defeated. We will not lose hope. We will not stop until we win. For everyone to be legal. Yeah. For everyone to be released from this detention camps. And we're also gonna, let's all say, that abolish ICE. Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Jorge with legalization for all. So give it up for legalization for all and Jorge. Jorge has seemed to have gotten shy. So I'm going to call up somebody that's actually a part of an organization that I'm in leadership for. It's El Pueblo, Milwaukee. And we have Vale coming up to speak on behalf of El Pueblo, so really give a big round of applause. Let's go.
Good evening. My message is kind of repetitive and echoing a lot of what we've already said. But my name is Vale. I'm one of the members from a newly formed grassroots organization, El Pueblo MKE. Our mission is to creatively ignite community-based change to build a more socially just future. We believe in justice for those who struggle against systematic oppression of class, gender, race, ethnicity, legal status, sexuality, and ability. We stand with the working class, undocumented folk, those of oppressed ethnicities, nations, and races, for women's liberation and queer liberation. We stand by our brothers and sisters affected by the racial pandemic. We fight anti-blackness, colorism within our own non-Black Latinx communities and strive to educate our own families in the Black Lives Matter movement. Because las vidas negras importan. Las vidas negras importan. Las vidas negras importan. Here in the United States and across the world. In parallel, as we are living through the COVID-19 pandemic, we seek to bring education to our Milwaukee Latinx community around the effects and safety measures to stay safe during these difficult and unjust times. Latinx make up only 15% of Milwaukee's population. But as of yesterday, we make up 30% of the confirmed COVID cases. Why? Because our families make up most of the essential workforce. Many undocumented, uninsured, and overworked, neglected, abused, and scapegoated. From today and here on out, we are saying enough is enough. We have been living in times of injustice for years and decades, but right now it's right in our faces, everywhere you turn to. You cannot move through your life idly, enjoying your summer boat rides, your summer vacations, bringing death in exchange for your comfort. Every decision you make is political. All our existence is political. And if you think you're not choosing a side, you're choosing the side of the oppressor. There are children in cages. There are men and women dying at the hands of ICE law enforcement. Our families are being torn apart for the sake of greed and racism, and our Black communities continue to be killed. During the Obama administration, more than 3 million people were removed. Removed. It doesn't count the returns. There's a difference in the terminology. During the Trump administration, we've been living under explicit hate, misogyny, racism, and we cannot assume that a Biden administration, if he wins, will be any different. A Biden administration does not ensure that the oppressed will outrightly win the humanity that we all deserve. It is up to us to ensure that a just future that we so desperately need is waiting for every single one of us. In Milwaukee and in the rest of the United States, we cannot trust that our elected officials will hold our best interest in every decision they make. We vow to continue to fight the struggles regardless of who wins this upcoming election. We vow to continue the struggle for police accountability and CPAP. We vow to increase labor fights, legislative fights, and we vow to continue to hold people in power accountable, no matter their political affiliation. Because el pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
Thank you, Vale. Since many of the Latinx population in here in Milwaukee speak Spanish, I will be translating what Vale said into Spanish. Buenas tardes. Me llamo Alan y soy miembro de la organización recientemente formada por gente de nuestras comunidades llamada El Pueblo Milwaukee. Nuestra misión es animar creativamente cambio comunitario para crear un futuro más justo. Creemos en la justicia para toda la gente que lucha en contra de la opresión sistémica de la clase, el género, la raza, la etnia, el estado legal, la sexualidad y la habilidad. Expresamos nuestra solidaridad con las clases trabajadoras, con la gente indocumentada, con aquella gente de etnias, razas y naciones oprimidas, con la liberación de las mujeres y con la liberación de la gente queer.
Expresamos nuestra solidaridad con nuestras hermanas y nuestros hermanos afectados por la pandemia racial. Luchamos en contra de la antinegritud, el colorismo dentro de nuestras comunidades latinas no negras y nos esforzamos para educar a nuestras propias familias acerca de los movimientos por las vidas negras. Las vidas negras importan. Las vidas negras importan. Las vidas negras importan. Repito, las vidas negras importan aquí, en Milwaukee, en todos los Estados Unidos y en todo el mundo. Ahora que vivimos durante la pandemia del COVID-19, nos esforzamos para educar a nuestras comunidades latinas de Milwaukee acerca de los efectos del virus y de las medidas de seguridad para que permanezcan sanas y salvas durante estos tiempos difíciles e injustos. La gente latina representa poquito más del 15% de la población de Milwaukee, pero representa el 30% de los casos confirmados del COVID. ¿Y por qué? Esto es porque nuestras familias constituyen la mayoría de la población de trabajadoras y trabajadores esenciales. Mucha de esta gente es indocumentada y no tiene seguro médico y es sobrecargada en sus trabajos. A nuestra gente la están descuidando, nos están abusando y nos están echando la culpa. Ya basta, esta mierda no puede continuar. A partir de ahora ya no nos dejaremos. Llevamos décadas y siglos viviendo en tiempos de injusticias, pero ahora estas injusticias son más obvias que nunca. Se encuentran aquí, enfrente de nosotros, y las podemos ver en cualquier dirección. No se puede seguir viviendo de manera pasiva, disfrutando de este verano como si nada pasara, disfrutando de viajecitos en botes, de vacaciones de verano, exponiendo a gente inocente a lo que casi es una muerte segura, solo porque quieres continuar con tu vida cómoda. Cualquier decisión que tomes es una decisión política. Nuestra existencia es política. Y aunque creas que no eres persona política, porque no correspondes a un lado político, sí lo eres. Al continuar con tu vida cómoda, te estás alineando con la gente opresiva. Aquí, en este pinche país, siguen encerrando a niñas y niños cada día en jaulas. Hay hombres y mujeres muriendo a manos de la pinche migra. Nuestras familias siguen siendo destruidas para beneficiar a los intereses de la gente avara y racista. Y nuestras comunidades negras son continuamente atacadas. Durante la administración del presidente Obama, más de 3 millones de personas fueron deportadas. Durante esta administración de este pinche cobarde naranja, hemos tenido que sobrevivir bajo manifestaciones explícitas del odio, la misoginia y el racismo, y no podemos suponer que una administración del pinche Joe Biden, si es que gana, será diferente. Una administración de Biden no garantiza que la gente oprimida va a conseguir la digna humanidad que toda la gente merece. Es nuestro deber asegurar que llegue a existir el futuro justo que desesperadamente necesitamos. En Milwaukee y en el resto de los Estados Unidos no podemos confiar en que funcionarios del Estado actúen y tomen decisiones con nuestros mejores intereses en mente. Nos comprometemos a seguir luchando sin importar quién gane las elecciones de noviembre. Nos comprometemos a seguir luchando por la responsabilidad policíaca y por CPAC. Nos comprometemos a seguir luchando por las clases obreras, a seguir luchando en contra de la legislación injusta y racista, y nos comprometemos a seguir exigiéndole responsabilidad a la gente con poder, sin importar su partido político. Con esto nos comprometemos. ¿Por qué? Porque el pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Gracias, mi gente.
All right, y'all. I just wanted to take a second to just kind of like wrap up some thoughts now that we're in front of this building. I'm sure y'all have kind of seen like a hashtag going around, "Save the Children," right? And we see like where that reaction comes from, right? Like, yeah, save the children, but people use it and weaponize it against Black Lives Matter. All right? But we see how shallow this movement is. We see how hollow it is and how it's literally just meant to shut up people of color. When you look at what's happening at the border, when you look and see that there's children in cages. And ironically, just like a week ago, there was a news report that came out basically saying that in El Paso, in one of their detention centers, that there is a pattern of sexual assault against migrant children. I can't even really comprehend that. Even talking about it, being in front of this building makes me nauseous. And I know it makes a lot of immigrants feel the same way. So the fact that we're all out here together, that we're out here united, and that we're out here taking the streets, it means a lot. Yes. Yeah. All right, so we're going to head back to Red Arrow Park. We're going to hear a few more speakers and the organizations that have helped make this coalition run and have put countless hours into this over the past year and a half. I mean, we've really been working hard on this. So be sure to stay around for the organizations that are going to be speaking back at Red Arrow Park. Right. So as usual, we're going to follow the people with the banner. We're going to head down this street right here. And yeah. And take a lap of water.
Whose street? Our street. Whose street? Our street. Whose street? Our street. Whose street? Our street. Whose street? Our street.
So we're going to wrap up over here. Maybe live again in a little bit. Not sure. It depends what's going on. We definitely got to put some food in us. It's been a while. So we're going to wrap up here, but I can't say for certain we won't be live again. So you'll just have to be on our text list to make sure you get a text message if we're live again. I believe Andrew Yang just spoke at the convention. Mayor Platitudes coming up. And also, if you have not yet subscribed, definitely sign up. Subscribe to the channel and join us as a member, statusquo.com/join. If we're not live again later, we will be continuing this reporting road trip tomorrow. Chicago for some stories there, as well as Flint, Michigan after that. So the work does not stop. We will also have our thoughts on the DNC convention tomorrow. If you've watched our live streams this week on that, we got plenty to say. And I cannot wait to watch Joe Biden speak. Apparently it's going to be live, so we'll see if he gets through that without some rhetorical pain. Jen, any comments, questions, concerns before we end? Full disclosure, my entire foot has fallen asleep. When your foot falls asleep and it's like marble, so if I look like I'm walking, my foot fell asleep.
The speakers were powerful. The spirit is happy. It's been a lot of walking. You guys
with masks that we can't really breathe in.
Yeah. But I want to thank all you guys who've been watching and leaving super chats. So incredible. That helps us stay reporting. Welcome to the new members. We'd like some more to join before the night is over. statusquo.com/join. Get on our text list because you never know when we'll go live next. Text COUP to 370-370.
And I'll also say that, you never know, but you obviously in activism, because this is obviously activism, you just have different coalitions. So tonight, for example, thought it was going to be exclusively, march on the DNC and a focus on the DNC, but it kind of organically became a mixed ball. You had Black Lives Matter here, you had immigrant rights groups here, Medicare for All, some hippie groups. I mean, there was just this huge healthcare workers, just this mixed bowl of protests, and eventually that might become one uniform protest. They all have their different missions, but that's really, like I saw someone on Twitter be like, isn't the Yellow Vest movement a right-wing movement in France? No, it's kind of a mix of left and right. But in reality, the Yellow Vest movement, if it were to happen here, can become something that we've never seen anywhere, really, because you have so many. That's what should be. It is great about America, the diversity, which has frankly been bastardized by the Democratic Party. They have been tossing out how diverse the Democratic Party is, but there's really diversity of, color, not diversity of thought. I mean, for example, look at the mayor of Chicago. They got a lesbian black woman in there. She's basically doing the same exact things Rahm Emanuel did. So diversity is not always amazing if it's the same corporate policies. So we are wrapping this portion of things. We might go live later again, not sure. But we'll be live again tomorrow, if not tonight, from Chicago. And please, if you haven't signed up yet, I'd like you to go lay down, ponder, is real independent journalism worth $5 a month? If it's not worth it to you, then I don't know what to say. But if you got an extra $5 a month or $179 annually, I think real independent media is where you should put it, because there's a lot of outlets out there that are just ranting, talking about the same thing. We're out here with the people. Jen?
Yeah, I would say actually don't ponder it. Just do it now spontaneously. statusquo.com/join.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And whether there's a pandemic or not, this mic stick, this arrow of justice, will continue into eternity.
Jordan's arrow.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a bit.